Hey guys, how's it going? So I got the G14 2024 model, and I know there's a lot of full reviews out there, but because I'm a smaller YouTuber, I have to purchase it myself. I don't have access to early review units or anything like that, but nonetheless, I'm incredibly excited to talk about this laptop. So first of all, they have completely redesigned it for 2024, and apparently this has been in the R&D labs for a very, very long time. For several years now, a company like Asus, while they're getting bigger, they're not as big as like the Dell or the Legions of the world. So it seems like they can only work on one laptop at a time. Last year we got a refresh Scar and Strix series. The year before that, a lot of their Z line or X line with the XG mobile port, that was their big R&D push. But then this year, I think they're probably the best selling laptops that they do make is the G16 and G14. And finally, these are getting the redesign that I kind of feel like they've needed since they were announced like maybe 4 years ago at this point. So with that being said, let's just talk about the build. It is fantastic. You're getting aluminum all throughout. Now they're kind of doing what Razer and Apple does, where it's a single block of aluminum and it's carved completely out of that block, and that's how this laptop is formed. And man, yeah, it's not only is it a sight to behold, but the quality is really good too. Like, listen to that metal. I will say though that while this is all aluminum and I'm not feeling any of that cheaper feeling magnesium alloy like I have in the past with some other ROG products, the thickness of this aluminum isn't as thick as something like the MacBook or the Razer. So you do feel that when you have them side by side and you just kind of hold on to it, it doesn't feel like as hard or as robust as like the Razer or the MacBook. At the end of the day, it's still aluminum, and there is little to no flex throughout the entire package. Actually, I'm not able to really detect any flex throughout the package, and in terms of screen wobble, there's barely any, if any at all. The hinge is incredibly solid too. Really nice tension. And of course, you could open it with one hand easily. And now you're getting this new slash lighting, so that Animatrix RGB is now gone. I bet some of you might still prefer that. I do like the way this looks. This definitely looks a lot more premium and a lot more professional. I had some people over today, and when they saw that, they all thought it looked cool. Some of them are gamers, some of them are not. But the cool thing is about this product is it appeals to everyone, both professional users, gamers, and people who like an understated effect. So you can go in and customize that in the software and stuff. I'll probably cover that in another video down the line. Overall, this design is striking, and just all day today, I just kept on stopping and looking at it. The design language is definitely in the step in the right direction. When you get back here, it just looks like a typical laptop. It doesn't have any of the cool design cues like I saw with my MSI Titan 18. But you know what? It's functional and it gets the job done. At the end of the day, like, no one's really looking down there anyway. So let's talk about what's new this year. And first is the speakers. The speakers sound incredibly good. And this is just a 14-inch. I don't even know how my 16-inch sounds yet. Thankfully, Asus is sticking with Dolby, and like I've said in multiple videos, they have the best audio processing for speakers of any laptop, and this is them taking their relationship to the next level. This sounds pretty close to the MacBook. I don't think there's really anyone that's not going to be happy with these speakers. Okay, so next I'm going to talk about the display. It's an OLED. It is 2880 by 1800, so it's like 2.8K, they say, or 2.5K. It's higher than QHD, which serves this display nicely. I think this is probably the most resolution you would probably ever need from a 14-inch, and also it supports G-Sync. So when I ran my measurements, I noticed that it's pretty much identical to the Asus ZenBook G14 that I reviewed not too long ago, not only are you getting OLED level contrast, but you're also getting the highest color gamut that you can possibly get out of any consumer laptop out there right now. OLED really helps with that. And on top of that, this laptop handles reflections really good. Better than that Razer Blade 16 that I had. That was pretty much just a mirror. So there's some kind of anti-reflective layer on the screen, but from what I'm seeing, it's not affecting the video quality at all. Sometimes with matte displays, things look less sharp, you lose some perceived contrast, etc. I'm not noticing with that here. Under 450 nits though, not the greatest. I wish it was brighter, but overall, OLED definitely provides some benefits that other screen technologies are not able to provide right now. So it's a toss-up, but that fast response with G-Sync gaming on this thing, whew, it looks super smooth. And speaking of gaming, let's just get into some of the numbers I got. So this is my first 4060 laptop I've ever tested. So I wanted to run it on this native display to see how it does. And I was quite surprised. So I ran 5 games. And by the way, if you've been looking at some of my videos in the past, if you want to see that type of benchmarks that I've done in the past, you're gonna have to wait a little bit. This is just my first day with the laptop, so this is what I was able to run within the first 24 hours of it. But I think I'm gonna start including some of these games in my benchmarks going forward. I think some of the games I've been using are getting a little bit old now, so it's time to update. So with these games, like I mentioned, you're running at the full 2.5K resolution with this 4060. I'm pretty much running on ultimate settings on each one of these, or extreme settings, whatever they call it in-game. And just about everything is playable. The only thing I had to start lowering was Cyberpunk. That I had to switch to the ray tracing low preset and set DLSS to auto, and I had to turn on frame generation for that game. And once I did that, I'm barely hitting 30 FPS. On my Titan 18 at full max settings, I'm getting about 45 FPS, so that's just a very high demanding game. But I can imagine at this resolution, if you're not too picky about frame rates, you can run just about every single game on this laptop. And if you buy this laptop and keep it for years down the road, maybe within the next 2 years or so, 3 years, you might just have to start lowering the resolution or start lowering some settings. But as of right now, and I foresee this going right into 2024, maybe even 2025, this will be able to run every single game comfortably. I wasn't sure what to expect with the 4060, but man, I'm really liking it. Okay, so taking a break from gaming, I think this will be used for a lot of other tasks. So I want to tackle the keyboard. It's probably one of the better feeling keyboards out there. It's got a really nice press to it, just the right amount of actuation force. It's relatively quiet, but when you press it down, it still feels premium. It's got a nice spring back up too. This is definitely a big improvement over the typical membrane style keyboards that they've had before in the previous G16 and G14. I didn't mind those before, they were tolerable, but the improvement in the keyboard is definitely noticed the moment you start typing on it. And another thing that they've really improved on is this trackpad. Of course, it's glass. This is the premium category, but the response of it is great too. There's little to no lag when you're moving the cursor around or when you're scrolling, which is not something I can say with all laptops. It feels a little bit more responsive than previous generations of the G14 and even most other gaming laptops I've used. I wish I had the Razer Blade 16 to compare it to, but just based off of memory, this trackpad definitely feels better. It's more sensitive too. So sometimes when I'm editing these videos, and I know not everybody's a video editor, but sometimes when I'm using the trackpad, I do require a precise trackpad, especially if I'm trying to cut one specific frame. Even if I'm using like Microsoft Excel and I want to individually click on a cell, having a fast and responsive trackpad really helps with that. It's something that most Mac users don't ever have to worry about, and on the Windows side is pretty hit or miss. And I spent a lot of time talking about the trackpad, but it was one of the first things that I noticed. So like I said, this is just my first day with it. You're going to get a full review on it, and I'm going to be doing a comparison between the G14 and the G16. And I want to do another comparison between the Apple MacBook Pro and the G14 now that this new one came out. And I'll be comparing it against the G16 too, because that uses the new Intel Core Ultra 9. I'm actually really looking forward to comparing the G16 to the G14 too, because of the different chips, Ryzen versus Intel. So there's a lot of videos coming with this G14, the G16, and all the other laptops I have. I just wanted to get something out there quickly, just to give you guys an idea of like what I have planned. If you guys have any questions, or if there's anything you want me to cover, leave me a comment. I know this is a shorter video with less detail than I typically go into, but man, I was really excited to get this in today, and I was really excited using it today, so I wanted to just make a quick video about this. All right, but thanks guys. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.